Hi, back in the shop with Woodworking with Wes. This video comes with a little explanation, a kind of a process of how we got to where we're going to do what we're doing today. We started off doing a video on this finish right here. It's called cerusing. We texture our oak finish, we put a paint on it, and then we deglazed it. When we did that video, we were told about another process that involved burning, and it's called shou-sugi-ban. And this is the piece that we did, and we did a video with actually this piece of wood right here. We burnt, and we took a wire brush and wire brushed it, and then we gave it a couple of clear coats of lacquer. In the video, I talked about trying it on hardwoods, and we had tried it on several different hardwoods, and it didn't do well. But we talked about maybe doing it on a piece of oak with the combination of these two systems here, or these two processes here. We're going to go ahead and texture this with a wheel sander, then we're going to burn it, then we're going to go back and paint it a little bit in the paint shop. And I've never done this before. This is the first time we're going to try this, so you get to see how it comes out. And I don't know how it's going to come out. We might get surprised. It could be good or bad, but we're going to give it a shot. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our Makita wheel sander with a nylon wheel, and we're going to texture our piece of oak. Now we've sanded our piece of oak smooth, and now we're going to give it some texture, and that's our first step. Okay, we've done a real good texturing with our wheel sander, raised the grain and getting ready. Now this is the process that we used when we did just the stain and glaze. Right now, if we were doing the stain and glaze finish, this piece is ready for stain and glaze. Now we're going to step in and do a shou-sugi-ban step by burning this textured finish and then wire brush it. So let's go there. Okay, we're going to burn this. Now, our pine board that we burnt really quick. I don't know how well this will burn and how fast. We're going to give it a try and just put a good burn on it and then take our wire brush and just wire brush it. Now, we used a wheel sander to texture up this board to begin with, but that can be done with a real good stiff wire brush too if you don't have a wheel sander. So let's go ahead now and burn and wire brush. We've let our burn cool. I burned a little softer here or less of a burn here than I did here. I really burnt pretty heavy here just to see if we can get a heavier texture on our wood. But we're going to go ahead and take our wire brush now and we're going to brush out all of that burn just like we did on the piece of pine to accent and highlight the grain. Wow, that's pretty nifty. That's got a real thick, heavy texture to it. It stays dark. That's the one thing about it that I didn't expect, is the wood stays real dark. Let's give it a little bit more of a brush, and then let's see what we're going to do about some finish. Okay, let's head to the paint shop. We're going to do one additional step that we didn't talk about. It had just a little too much char still on it. When I rubbed my hands on it, I still got a lot of stuff. So we just took a piece of sandpaper and we just gently went over it like this to take off some of the char, and then we blew it off. Now we're going to go to the paint shop and see how this does. Okay, we're in the paint shop. We decided rather than do a glaze, which I would do over the top of another finish, because this is raw wood, we're just going to spray a tinted primer on here, and then we'll sand a little bit and then put a top coat of it. So that's all we're going to do right now. We're going to spray a light coat of tinted primer. Okay, we're going to let that dry for about a half hour, and then we're going to sand the top of that finish and bring our grain out, and then we'll do a top coat over it. We've let our gray primer dry now, and we're just going to take a sanding sponge, and we're just going to sand through this gray primer and bring the black grain back out and see what happens. Like I say, I've never done this before, so this is all new even to me. Well, that doesn't sand off all that well. Well, let's try something different to sand with. Well, it's coming. Now it's coming. I used kind of an old sponge. Let's get a new sponge and see if it does better. There we go. That's... Let's blow this off and see what this looks like. Let's sand a little bit more, see if we can bring out some more dark. This is a different kind of sanding sponge, just a little more aggressive. I'm liking it more. I like the dark a little better. Okay, let's blow it off one more time. Let's blow that off. That is a cool looking finish. It has a little texture to it, so it doesn't feel nice and smooth. It's nice, it's got some texture to it, but it's still smooth to the touch. We've got some beautiful lining, and striping, and we can see the grain showing up here. We're going to put a coat of lacquer on that and see how that does. Now this is, like I say, this is something that is just an experiment. I've never done this before, but I'm kind of liking the way it turns out. Let's get some lacquer on it. We're going to let our lacquer dry. The shiny will disappear because this is a flat lacquer. I wanted to show you again the vinyl or the primer that I use is M.L. Campbell tinted vinyl primer that I use. Can't read the name very good because I've got too much paint dripping all over it, but that's what I use, M.L. Campbell vinyl primer. And that's what I sprayed on here. I had it tinted to a light gray. I sprayed it in here, sanded back so some of the char from the shou-sugi-ban showed through. So this is kind of a hybrid between cerus and shou-sugi-ban. And I kind of think it's turning out pretty cool. Fun to do experiments and see what you end up with when you're in the shop. You can do the same thing in your shop. Be adventurous. See what happens. See you next time. Woodworking with Wes.